I was a student at the University of Alabama, and I had learned about another business that was fixing iPhones from a retail location. And they were like bragging to the local news that they were making $20,000 a month. And I had been reading these business books. I'd been like looking for my thing to start. And for whatever reason, I said, I can do that. I can fix phones. And so right around the same time, one of my classmates gave me a broken iPhone. And I saw like a flyer on the bulletin board for a guy that fixed iPhones. And so I went to his dorm room and I had him fix my iPhone in front of me. And I asked him all kinds of questions. And then I went and signed a 5-year lease on a store.
How did you sign a 5-year lease on a storefront with no income?
So I went to all my previous bosses. Because I didn't grow up around wealthy people. My parents had no money. And I basically said, hey, Danny, like, I want to start this business fixing iPhones. This was 2010. So iPhones were still very new. No one thought it was viable, right? And the only data point I had was one news article I read about some guys, right? But he's like, no. I went to my boss at the Thai restaurant where I was waiting tables. He said, no. Everyone I knew said no. Until I went to a guy that I met on my mission in Hungary. He was Austrian, but he was living in Hungary. And I knew he owned a few businesses. And I told him, and he's like, no question, how much do you need? And I had some Pell Grants. I had some credit card advances, but I needed $20,000. And he gave me the $20,000. And I put my Pell Grants in, my credit card advance, and started the business.
Why could you not just do that from your dorm?
That's what everyone told me to do, right? And that would have been wise, but I looked at it as every day that I don't open, I'm losing money. Like I'm effectively losing money. And so if I start small and scale this, I'm losing money. I want to be at scale now. And I did do some research. So I scraped every single iPhone repair shop in the country with some random piece of software I found online. And I learned that a city of 100,000 could support about 2 iPhone repair stores. And the city I lived in, coincidentally, had 100,000 people and there were no stores. And it was a similar demographic city as Baton Rouge, where Louisiana State was. So I thought, okay, 30,000 students, they're all going to get iPhones or smartphones. There's no one here fulfilling this need. I just knew like, this will work. This works in all these other cities. It will work here.
And how much did you make from that?
I sold it a few years later for $1 million, right at $1 million.
Who bought it?
A private, just a guy that wanted to quit his W-2. He had a 6-figure job and he wanted to own his own business.
And you just had one storefront?
We had 4. By the
okay,
time
so
we
you'd
sold.
expanded. And how many in that city?
1. And it's still there. 15 years later, that store is still there.
So how much did you make in your first year running this iPhone screen
first
fixing
year
business?
Not much at all.
No.
The second year, maybe 60, 70,000. And then I partnered with another business and they took over it. I owned a third at that point. And then they added 1 or 2 more stores and sold it.
So why do you think most people never even start?
They're just afraid of what people will think or say. And people don't care. That's the whole secret is people don't care about you.
Do you think it is that, or do you think people just overthink
They do
what
that
they
too.
want?
Absolutely. Yeah. They get their dopamine from research because it feels good to like crunch numbers, make spreadsheets, copy the sheet, make this scenario. It feels really good and we're getting dopamine from that. But we need to get our dopamine from action, right? From calling and trying to get a customer, trying to get a sale, like trying to call and negotiate a lease. We get dopamine from both things, but the former is easier, the research side of things. So they get stuck in that loop forever until they get bored with it and then they move on. And then they tell people, it just didn't work out.
So how do you encourage somebody to start if they're either overthinking the idea or afraid of approval?
I was afraid of what people thought as well. And so I did something kind of dumb. I put like a false constraint on myself. And I was like, I'm not ever going to post about this to Facebook. Because what I told myself was, if I have to start a business that relies on my friends and family, then it might not scale. You don't have a business. But what the real reason was I don't want people to see what I'm doing because I might fail. I might not do it. I don't want to be publicly accountable, right? So everything I did without the help of my friends and family, who were willing to help. They were willing to be my first customer, right? But I didn't use that. So people need to just let go of that and be willing to ask for help from their friends and family to be their first customers. And they need to do something every single day to keep the ball moving. Because we focus a lot on focus, right? That's the question everyone asks me, like, what if you just done one business? What if you focus? What would happen if you focus? But we don't focus on momentum. We don't talk enough about momentum. I think momentum's everything. And if we keep momentum going, then it doesn't matter if we focus or not. We're going to win if we just keep going, right? In my opinion, compounding does not care if we're doing one thing or multiple things, because if we're getting positive signals from an idea, we're not going to be distracted by other ideas. The distraction is a signal that something isn't right with this idea.
But that would require a good idea in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is more important for someone looking to become an entrepreneur or make a lot of money in business? Should they try to come up with the idea first or hone their skills first?
I think they should try to find a customer first, a paying customer on any idea. Just steal an idea, honestly, like a burger restaurant. People try to think of a new idea. New ideas are more likely to fail than anything because it's new. I want an idea with precedent, right? I want a roadmap of someone that's gone before me and done that. And then I just want to copy that. So I think that's what people should focus on, is taking another idea that meshes with their background. Maybe like their college major had something to do with it, or their previous job, or their passion, or something. Some idea that they've seen out there in the market that looks interesting to them, and they should try to find a customer there. And they'll learn so much more in the effort of finding a customer than they would in the effort of trying to research that idea forever.
And at what point do you decide to cut the idea? That maybe it's just not working?
That's an excellent idea. That's an excellent question. So that answer for me is different than for others. For me, if 2 weeks have elapsed and I'm still thinking about it, like I'm going to bed, I'm on a walk, and I'm just like, there's really something to that. Because I come across a ton of ideas on a daily basis. And so that idea has to compete with all kinds of others coming into my brain, right? So for me, 2 to 3 weeks is about the test that I give it. But for the average person, they have this thing called product market fit, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. And a normal business, let's call it a business or a business idea, feels like pushing a boulder up a hill, right? It's exhausting. It's hard. We acquire 2 customers, we lose 1. We acquire 3, we lose 2. That's normal. That's okay, right? But 5% of the time, you've got product market fit, where instead of pushing that boulder up a hill, you're sprinting down a hill. And the boulder represents demand, customers, right? Money. And they're chasing you. You can't even sleep because you're fulfilling orders, right? You just find the sweet spot in the market, the pricing, the offer. It's just all aligns, and you have product market fit, right? That is a beautiful thing. Like, that is when you should not have shiny object syndrome, and you won't. Like, just by default of the idea being so successful, you won't be looking around. You'll be figuring out how to fulfill these orders, right? It's then when you should not look around. But if it's the normal thing and you're pushing a boulder up a hill and you still have shiny object syndrome, it doesn't mean you should just chase the first idea. Because that boulder, like, you could get over the hill and you could find product market fit. Keep pushing it. But also listen to those signals. Because if something sounds like a good idea to us, it's for a reason. And so it might sound woo-woo on the surface, but like, we need to get to the bottom of like why that idea sounds interesting to us. And then maybe spend a little bit of time just kind of exploring it a little bit.
It's no secret that short-form content is here to stay, but manually clipping and editing takes hours that you could be using to focus on other parts of your business.
That is why we're so excited to partner with 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧. 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 is the ultimate solution to growing your audience fast with short-form content.
𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 finds the best moments from your video and instantly generates multiple clips that are ready for social media. Seriously, guys, it has never been this easy to consistently post short-form content.
And 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 could write captions to save you even more time. It automatically reframes and optimizes your videos, making them ready for any platform.
And now that they have a mobile app, you can clip literally anywhere at any time.
Seriously, guys, 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 has helped us out tremendously for clipping up our content for the Iced Coffee Hour and bringing us a lot more traction to the videos.
If you're ready to streamline your business, 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 is absolutely perfect for you. Check out 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 at opus.pro/ICH. That is opus.pro/ICH.
Thank you again to 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗧 for sponsoring our show, and now let's get back to the episode.